Hare Krishna, do the invocation for Mridanga. There's been several discussions, I guess, over the years that different people I've learned from about what the invocation for Mridanga is. Different people have different invocations, and I guess shastrically, it's just kind of been determined that we're not certain exactly how we should be worshipping the Mridanga in a mantra form. So from this point on, I've just adopted the means of saying, Om Mridangaya Namo Namaha. And it's pretty simple. You can always say this prayer before playing the Mridanga. You can touch the Mridanga, touch it to your forehead, and just try to ask for its mercy and ask for, some level of respect, I guess, to be shown to the instrument, and try not to bleed on it and sweat on it too much and different things like that. But so we covered tereketa last time, but we covered tereketa just in one form, which is what most people teach. Most people learn tereketa and just in the Catur Jati or 4/4, where you're just breaking it into deregena, and it's just a straight 4/4 time, and you 2/4 time, however fast, or 8/4, and if you're going backwards and slowing it down. So today, I'll show the mantras here written down. As usual, they'll be in the description and far more detail, but this just helps me to have a little plan. So at the top, we've got 3/4 time. And in terms of looking at taal structures, the stuff is going to get more complicated. Right now, the 3/4 and the 6/8 might look identical. But when you start speeding up and you have more things filling in each 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you'll realize that 3/4 and 6/8 are quite different. Because here, you really only have 4 sections to fill in. And here, when we break this up and spread it out, you actually have 6 sections to fill in. So these mantras that you have for 3/4 don't really fit into 6/8. You always have to have extra stuff. But for this, you'll see that you can actually use the same in both, just that we're doing it differently and we're using a different jati structure. So 3/4 time, I guess I'll explain a little bit more of that. So that's at your end of your kirtan, and where things get really fast, and then people break into this, it's almost like a marching beat. A lot of people use it in Irish dancing, I guess. You hear fiddles, and you go to any Irish jigs, and that dancing is actually in a 3/4 time, and it helps people to dance and march and stuff like that. So it's quite a jubilant taal. Well, not a taal, that's what I'm going to get into, but it's part of the Dasa Pahira taal. It's still 4/4 time, you're just using only 3 beats of it now, but the taal structure is still the same because you still have 4 pieces to count out. There's nothing different in terms of the taal. It's just that you're playing less beats in each one, so you can play faster and play more opulently. A lot of people think that it's actually similar to when we sing Damodarastakam. You hear people generally playing Damodarastakam, and they'll play some 3/4 time in the middle of it, or switch back and forth, and it's very kind of disconnected because you're switching between 2 things that don't really connect. And then also, if you don't understand how those taals work, it can become very confusing because it seems like they're very similar because you're still playing 3s in a lot of circumstances, but the taal structure is very different. So here is when you're singing Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And then you can go back to regular Dasa Pahira where you're playing 4 beats. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare taal, but you're playing 4 beats or 3 beats. 3 beats feels faster. It allows the speed to go up, but your hands can play that speed because you're only playing 3 of the 4 beats. Now, tereketa, when you're playing tereketa, you're going tereketa, tereketa. We're only utilizing Catur Jati of tereketa, but you can break it up. You can break so many things up into 3s. So we're going to break tereketa up into 3s. So the first part is Tereke. So that's 3 beats. Then you have tatere. So if you're reading out tereketa, you just break it up so that you've got 3 pieces. But 4, 8, and 12 breaks up into 3, 6, 9, and 12. Same thing. But in terms of a jati, this is now Tisra Jati, so you're playing in groups of 3s. So we're going tereketa, tereketa, tereketa. Totally different feel from tereketa 2, 3, 4. Now we're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Different counting structure, and it gives you that marching feel all of a sudden. So this is extremely important because there's a lot of advanced mantras later, and you can play, tereketa and deregena and many other versions of it broken up into 3. If you don't have the phrasing right, then it's going to be, because you can't be te 3 times, it won't work. You have to be tereketa, tereketa, tereketa. So this concept really helps you to open up the world of Mridanga and take so many mantras that we have and utilize them in different ways. And I'll show you how you can use tereketa basically to do all forms of your kirtan without having to really learn anything else. So tereketa, tereketa, tereketa. Tereketa, tereketa, tereketa. So you have tereketa, tere. Then the second half, if you look at it in 2 groups of 3, it's keta, tereketa. So they have a real strong emphasis for this, and to make sure that you're balancing the mantra nicely. Tereketa, tere. Then the K is that second half, so you need to make sure that you're right on point with that. That was the first te. Tereketa, 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 tereketa. Hare Krsna, Hare Krsna, Krsna Krsna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. So then you can play kirtan with just tereketa. Then we learned deregena, tereketa last time. Deregena, tereketa. Now we're gonna go deregena, 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 tereketa, tereketa, tereketa. So again, now you can play both. Hare Krsna, Hare Krsna, Krsna Krsna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krsna, Hare Krsna, Hare Krsna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare So there you can interchange them. It doesn't change the taal, doesn't really change much. You're just compressing and playing less in the same taal structure. The cartels obviously have to follow and the singer feel it, because it does speed up a little bit by doing that. But it's a really cool technique that you can use, and a lot of dihais and things will all be in this Tisra Jati. You see a lot of like traditional Bengalis on YouTube. They play, the regular like Prabhupada beat, and then for the Hare Rama part, they're all playing Tisra Jati, all these complicated Tisra Jati mantras, and it just sounds really cool. But it's actually not hard because it's in 3/4 time, and the kirtan isn't really fast, and it just adds a lot more flair than playing like go derege, go derege. And if you want to play that in double speed, it's harder because now you're doubling 4 and 4. Whereas if you play double speed in 3/4 time, Tisra Jati, it's only 6 that you have to play. So it makes it a lot easier. So let's practice that a little bit more. So deregena, deregena, deregena. So you're always falling onto the re. Dere, deregena, deregena, deregena. Compared to deregena, deregena, where the re is very quick. Now you're stalling on it. Deregena, deregena. 6/8 time, Lofa taal, Dasa taal, 2 taal, however you want to frame it, paraphrase it. This essentially looks the same, but like I said, as you start playing faster, then 6/8 is going to look a lot different from 3/4 in terms of what your mantra structure is, your D-highs, everything. But for this case, we can still play Tere, keta, tereketa, tereketa, so that there's 3, there's 4 sections of, let me see here, I'm getting confused. Tereketa, so we're playing tereketa 3 times still, same here. Tereketa, tereketa, tereketa 3, 6/8 time, tereketa, 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 still 12, so we've doubled it. But 6/8 time has this little dotted note here. If you look up Western time signatures, it has a dotted note, so it's a different, like here each one is even in the notes. 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. But in Lofa taal you have 1 2 3 4, so the 1 and the 4 have a dotted note, and it extends it a little bit, so it adds that different feel. You're like, so totally different. So here we're gonna play this in Catur, so we're gonna play it in a concept of 2s, or 4 and 2, however you look at it, but we're not breaking it up into 3s in this case. So going tereketa, tereketa, tereketa. Okay, and we've got that little different feel, so we're going Hare Krsna, Hare Krsna, Krsna Krsna, Hare Hare. So we'll start to start, so it makes more sense, so you can see how it fits. Hare Krsna, Hare Krsna, Krsna Krsna, Hare Hare. Tereketa, tereketa, tereketa. This is different from going tereketa, tereketa, tereketa. The speed, the feel is very different. The phrasing is very different. Here we've just got a tere, a keta, and a te and a re, all just on one beat. 1 2 3 4 5 6. Hare Krsna, Hare Krsna, Krsna Krsna. So tereketa, tere, 6. Second 6, keta, tereketa. Hare Krsna, Hare Krsna, Krsna Krsna, Hare Hare. Let's try deregena. Deregena, 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 dereketa, dereketa, dere. Hare Krsna, Hare Krsna, Krsna Krsna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krsna, So some other cool things you can do with this as well is as you get faster at tereketa, you can start learning to start now forming your mantras and adding things in, as I was saying. So now we're just playing one note on each part of the 6 beats that we have. And as you get more advanced, you can start playing 2 notes, 3 notes, start playing more advanced hits, gereges, dagru daddinis, gurugurs, all these different things where you're, exploding and hitting a bunch of beats at once. Or you learn how to phrase things so that everything fits and it's all in double speed and fast and lots of things. But this is where you have to start so that your hands and your body and your mind understand the taal, understand deregena. Because if you're playing fast and you don't understand the feel, the taal, you don't understand how to play tereketa, and it's very hard to play any other faster mantras. You're playing it, but doesn't phrase properly. And if you really sit a lot of Mridanga players down, put them in a quiet room and try to have them play to cartels without a bunch of noise and people, clapping and everything like that, you'll realize that it doesn't phrase properly, and there's just a whole host of problems with so much of it. And it's just not a nice offering. And it's disturbing to the kirtan in a lot of ways, I guess. So as you get faster, then you can go Hare Krsna. So now we play deregena, deregena. So now you're doubling the speed of that last part, so it sounds more fun. And all of a sudden your mantra's got a lot more character, so now you're going Hare Krsna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, deregena. I've seen, I was watching some videos recently and people are teaching Tere, like they gotta wind up and they're smacking the Mridanga as hard as they can, and everything's like, even I learned like this too, like playing so hard and strong and this and that. And, to play nicely, to play fast, and just in general, playing Mridanga, it's like martial arts. Like, you're supposed to be very soft and very fluid so that when you strike, it has a lot of power. If you're really stiff and rigid and trying to hit things really hard with big muscles and stuff, you lose a lot of speed, a lot of power, and a lot of the beauty and the sound that you can elicit from something. So if you just hit something, you're not like pulling the sound of it, you're like aggressively attacking it. But Mridanga, there's so many nuances and sounds. You want to be able to pull the sound from the Mridanga when you want, and not always have a constant speed and attack, and be able to vary that, because there's a lot of variance in the mantras where something is very soft, the next note is very loud and aggressive, and certain hits, as I said, are accentuated and everything. If you're just aggressively attacking all the time, all the beauty and the nuance of the Mridanga is kind of lost. So when you're practicing tereketa, deregena, all of these, play it softly, play it with not much strength and power, really, and just try to be as loose as you can, so you're not getting bloody and you're not getting sore and stiff arms and wrists and stuff. It's just very light and easy, just twisting the wrist and just practicing gently and getting that speed so that your hand becomes very loose rather than stiff. So, deregena, deregena, dereketa, deregena, Hare Krsna, Hare Krsna, Krsna Krsna, Hare Hare. Then as you get faster, you can try understanding a little bit more about 6/8. So on your fingers, we have these joints, as I was saying. So you can count Here you start with your thumb. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can count up to 12 or go back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So as you get faster, you can play tereketa on each joint for the 6 beats of the taal. Tereketa, 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 tereketa. Deregena, 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 deregena. What we were playing before was 1 beat on each. So that's, deregena. Now we're playing 4. So that's a big jump in speed. But the mantra I was just explaining was dere, gena. So 1 beat on each. Deregena. So here we've doubled it. So deregena, deregena, tereketa, tereketa. Now I'm saying you can play deregena, 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 deregena. Tereketa, 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 tereketa. So when you're playing faster like that too, you might want to just emphasize that last. So you're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the last gena is emphasis. So Hare Krsna. That last one. Hare Krsna, Krsna. So you can hit that last one and practice getting some emphasis there. Lots of different things you can do. So, yeah, I guess that's everything for today. And we'll see what happens with the next class. Okay, Hare Krishna.